Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to the Rome review / reaction to the live-action Mulan trailer. So, this trailer came out 4 days ago, I think at this point, and I started watching it yesterday. I got about 20 seconds in before I just went, yeah, I need to pause this because I need to talk about this trailer. And by extension, react to the rest of it, but really I just need to talk. So a bit of history right now. I have not seen any of the live-action Disney remakes ever since they started doing them. There is not a single one I've seen. Mostly because they just haven't interested me, and most of that is because they haven't been remaking any of the films that I am all that fond of. Like, the closest one they've done is Aladdin, but even then it's like, I saw the trailer, I saw what they were doing, and just went, yeah, it doesn't really interest me. Mulan, on the other hand, is different, because Mulan is my favorite Disney film of all times. Like, there's no other film that even comes close to it. I love everything about it. It's just such a perfectly written and handled story. And I'm going to admit, a lot of that simply comes from the fact that, especially in recent years, I have seen many films attempt to have the same type of story and message as Mulan, and they just fail completely. So the fact that Mulan is something that actually does it well means that my appreciation for it goes up even higher. So that brings us to the trailer. So I'm going to start from the beginning. Again, like I said, I've seen about the first 10 or 20 so seconds before I paused it. Also note that I am going to be pausing it throughout the trailer, just so if anything pops up that I do feel the need to comment on, then I can do that. So, trailer's up and ready to go, and at this moment, it's actually currently #1 on trending. So, good for it, but let's get into this.
We have excellent news. The matchmaker has found you an auspicious match.
It is decided. Come and sit down. It is what is best for our family.
And we have already got to the point where I have to just put this thing on hold because we are already so completely far off what I was hoping this was going to be. So for those of you who don't remember or haven't seen the first Mulan, there is a very strong reason why the girl power, fish out of water, that type of message works very well in that film, where it doesn't work in other films. And that's because that despite not fitting in, Mulan tries. This is a very big part of her character, and it's actually what drives the entire starting scenes. The fact that even though she can't properly fulfill the perfect stereotype of the perfect woman and all the other things that she's expected to do, even though she can't do that, she still wants to try. She accepts that it is her role in life. Even though it doesn't fit her, she knows, or she believes, that that's what she needs to do. This is something that a lot of the whole fight the system, I don't want to be forced into a role that isn't me type of characters just don't have in their writing. It's that from the very first time you meet them, they're outcasts. And they're deliberately outcasts because they look at the situation and say, I don't want to be here because this is not me. And they're basically kind of happy about it. Happy isn't the right word, but there's a very much of an aggression to their personality. They're actually trying to fight while staying in the system. And the problem with those types of characters is that they never work. It's like, it is so hard to find a character with that type of mentality that is actively a good lead character. This is why the animated version works, because yes, she knows she wants more, but she knows she also doesn't have the ability to do it yet. To bring a more standard type of character or standard analogy to what I'm talking about here, Luke Skywalker from the original Star Wars film is basically the exact type of character. He knows he wants more than his life is, he feels like he's destined for greater things, but he also accepts his responsibility to stay where he is. It's only when the things actually start taking off that he then decides, okay, yes, now I can move on. That's what makes things interesting, and it's so so always done wrong. I don't understand why this is something that all writers just keep forgetting. I don't get it. Anyway, that's where I left off. Now let's see how the rest of the trailer goes. I'm doubtful. I'm not looking forward to it.
Yes, I will bring honor to us all.
Okay, I've got about 2 seconds, and before it's like, it's the same. Oh, brother. Like, that's exactly what I mean. That whole thing, she sounds exasperated. You can tell just from that line, that face, that she has absolutely no interest in even attempting to do what society wants her to do. Which is not how you make it interesting. It goes completely against what the first movie was talking about. I don't know why I'm keep doing like that. I'm just... Oh, how are we... We are about a third of the way film, and I'm... It's... You know, let's just keep going from Disney. Yes.
Quiet.
And she's fighting.
Composed.
She's fighting. Yep, it's just...
Graceful. Disciplined. These are the qualities we see in a good wife.
So, from that line, what I'm assuming they're hinting at is that they're trying to portray the idea that as long as you're good and passionate in the role you have, then it doesn't matter who you are or what that role is, then that's a good thing. Which is... Oh boy. Obviously, I'm going to keep comparing this back to the original because this is a Disney remake, and that's what every single person has done with every single remake that they've done so far. They've always just compared it back to the original, because what else are we going to do in this regard? Now, they're already showing her doing the fighting right now, so that means they skipped over a scene that I kind of thought they might put in the trailer, but apparently they didn't. And it's the scene after she sings Reflections, and her father is comforting her under the cherry blossom tree. Is it a cherry blossom tree? I think it is. Probably not. I don't know. I don't know my plans. Anyway, in that scene, Fazu is trying to comfort her after she's failed to be a perfect bride for the matchmaker. Which, you know, again, is concerned with the conflict. She's not what society deems a perfect woman, and so he's trying to, you know, comfort her and make her feel better about herself. But notice how he does it. He doesn't say in that scene that there is nothing wrong with you. What he says, in his own way, is that, yes, you failed this time, but just because you failed now doesn't mean you can't do better. That's basically what he's saying. He's encouraging her to say, you didn't get through this time, but you will get there eventually. You will fit the thing that we're expecting you to do. This is where it comes in. He's being supportive while still sticking to the roles that have been defined, because that's the culture that exists there. In fact, if you actually look at Mulan as a character, she doesn't actually act like a man. This is, again, one of the things that makes the film work in terms of the roles that are being portrayed there. It's that she isn't a fighter. She isn't going out and doing all the manly stuff. She's still a woman, first and foremost. She's still very feminine, but she's just not feminine enough for the standards of the culture she lives in. This is why immediately after that scene, where they get all the news about, hey, the Huns are coming, and we're going to need one man from every family to come and serve the army. That is the first time she ever properly steps out of line. The whole scene before, like when she's doing her chores, when she's with the matchmaker, she doesn't actually do anything wrong. She just doesn't do well enough. This is the first time where she stands up and actually talks back to the Imperial recruiter. That is the only time in the entire film where she actually steps out of line in terms of the culture. And yet, once again, with this film, what they're portraying is that she's always wanted to be a fighter. She's always wanted to do the manly stuff and what the men want to do and stuff like that. And it's just so boring. Like, that really is it. It's just so bog standard and dull, and I don't know why I would want to see this. And at this point, I'm probably going to have to, just so I can actually take the entire thing in from what it's worth, but I don't know. This trailer is doing a really good job at trying to convince me not to see this film. That is the other launch, at least.
These are the qualities we see in Mulan.
It is my duty.
And she's actually fighting
fight.
as a woman. Now, okay, so the trailer's actually over right now. To the credit of this film, in the actual original story, and when I say original, I mean the original story, like, you know, pre-Roman era, Chinese, or ancient, you know, the actual original story that the film is based on. In that work, she is accepted as a woman. She doesn't have to pretend to be a man. The entire story is about, hey, this is a woman that was in the army. It's kind of like the whole Joan of Arc thing, except, you know, in China. Like, she is disguising herself, at least to start with. And once again, in the animated film, she keeps up the disguise. Oh boy, no. Okay, I just had a thought. Now I'm really, really worried. I am going to flip. If the reason she's fighting at the end as a woman, if the entire reason that she's revealed is because it's on her own terms, I am going just... Oh, brother. But that's how they're going to do it, aren't they? I can already see it from here. There's going to be one scene where she deliberately stands up and takes off her disguise and like, yes, by the way, I'm a woman. As opposed to the animated one, which the only reason they found out at all is because she almost died and they needed to do surgery, which kind of revealed, you know, things kind of missing. Again, that's just what made the first one such a good story in terms of the whole female empowerment thing. Because she was never doing this as a woman. She was never defined by her gender until they said, no, you can't be here. She never wore it as a sense of pride. She never says, yes, I'm here, so you have to accept me for how I am. She knew she was in the wrong, and yet she did it anyway. That's what made her interesting. That's what the story interesting, especially with Shang in the Times of God. That's why you can see in his eyes, after, every single time Shang is in scene, after he finds out that Mulan is actually a woman, you can see this, it's always in his eyes of like that conflict of, I trust this person, but I shouldn't. I'm not allowed to because they should not be fighting alongside me. And yet I know from everything that they've done that they should have the right, that they are worthy to be here. That's what kept the whole discrimination concept interesting, because it wasn't being taken to a grand scale. It was just this one woman. This one woman who found herself in a situation, who puts herself into a situation for a reason. Oh cripes, that's the other thing. I didn't even realize until just now. Why is she going to join? Why is she going to join? Because in the original, it was basically a split-second decision. She was looking, she was panicking, and she basically said at the last minute, okay, you know what? Maybe I should just do this. Maybe I should just do this, because otherwise my dad is going to die. He is almost 100% going to get killed if someone doesn't take his place. It's not like I can convince anyone else to do it, so I have to be the one to do it. Here, you see from the beginning that she wants to fight. If that does end up playing a factor, it's going to drop her... Can you tell I'm worried? Like, have I made it clear by now that I'm kind of worried how this film is going to turn out? I guess there's nothing to do but wait to see. When does it say it was releasing again? Spring 2020. So that's autumn, because Australia. So that means it's probably going to be sometime in about March or April. Oh boy. I don't think I can get here soon enough. Anyway, that's my thoughts and immediate impressions on this trailer. Not looking good. Not looking good at all. But regardless, thanks so much for watching, and hope to see you again next time.